Good evening. Welcome to Live United. Living United, making a difference in people's lives here in the Monadnock region. Today I have joining me Catherine Brott. Catherine joins me from the Castle Center, a program of home health care, hospice, community services. It's always a tongue twister.
It is a tongue twister.
HCS is so much easier. The Castle Center is one of our really unique programs here in the Monadnock region that's serving a very special population in many ways. So, Catherine, can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Castle Center, how it started, and where it is now?
Well, the Castle Center started over 25 years ago on Castle Street, actually, here in Keene. And the original people who started was started by, I believe, a small group of people, and eventually they needed more help and assistance with the Castle Center, so that's when home health care came in. And so home health care has been overseeing the Castle Center for, I want to say, 25 years. So they were on Castle Street first, and then they moved to Washington Street, and over 12 years ago they moved to the location where we're now at on Marlborough Street.
And do you know why? What purpose did it serve originally?
The purpose originally was an adult medical day program. So adults 18 years of age could come to the Castle Center. I was providing activities and also monitoring like medical health we can do at the Castle Center. People with disabilities, developmental disabilities would also attend the Castle Center. We've kind of now are more for older adults, so we will, any adult can apply for admission to the Castle Center. But our population has changed over the years where we're seeing more older senior citizens in the community and many with memory loss issues.
So it's made a little bit of a shift, and interestingly enough, it's really almost timely because a lot of our population here in the Monadnock region, across the state of New Hampshire, they're calling it the silver tsunami. We have an aging population that will be in need of service. And so I'm imagining you're beginning to see that need increase and being responsive to that.
Yes, and with more people wanting to stay at home as they age or living with adult children, it's harder and harder for them to have mom and dad in the house all day, especially with people my age who are caregivers to their adult family members that still have to work and not wanting to leave mom or dad in the house alone, or even a spouse. We're even seeing even younger people with memory loss that can't be home alone. So the Castle Center provides an opportunity for the adults to come in and socialize, engage in exercise and all different types of activities while their caregivers are able to continue their full-time work. And that's very important because most people can't stop working to take care of mom or dad.
Well, and that kind of respite in some ways is healthy for the whole family.
Correct. Because
when you really think about being a caregiver, that can be very stressful. It can be stressful on other relationships in the family dynamic. It can be stressful just in terms of getting to work each day, being able to go shopping and make sure there's groceries and healthy food in the household.
Correct.
So it becomes a whole safety net and support network that you have to really keep not just the individual healthy, but the people that are taking care of that individual as well. So it really provides an opportunity for aging in place for many people, or just staying home for many people who may be suffering from some kind of, whether it's mental health issues or loss of memory. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but I wanted you to share with the community how you got involved with the Castle Center.
Well, that's an interesting story. When I decided to go to nursing school, one of my clinical sites was the Castle Center. And I remember being there thinking, oh, someday it would be really nice to work with adults, work with the older population. That's my favorite population of people to work with. And when the opportunity arose, of course, I jumped on it. I was very thankful that the previous nurse retired and that there was an opening. And I'm with people I feel like I'm making a difference in their quality of life to be able to be part of their life there. We actually live life with the participants that come to the Castle Center.
And that's part of what makes it so incredibly special there, to have people like you and to be living that life alongside them. Now, you mentioned that you love working with the elderly population, and you have a clinical nursing background.
Yes, I do. I also still do some per diem hours at the hospital. My background is ICU, telemetry, and also rehab nursing.
That's one of the other things that makes the Castle Center so unique, though, is that it has that medical support system built right into the Castle Center program.
Yes, we can pick up quickly if a participant's not feeling well. I'll assess, if they're coughing, I'll assess lungs. I can pick up lung sound noises if there's, big concern, and let the family members know immediately. The staff also are all licensed nurse assistants that work with me, and several of them have been there over 10 years. So they know very well how to work with this type of population, and also able to come to me if they notice any changes, not just physical changes, but cognitive changes. They could tell me, like, oh, Joan's just not herself today. There's something going on and we can't quite figure it out. Can you come in and look at her and see what you think?
So they can really receive some preventative or proactive type of support that may prevent them from ending up in a hospital situation,
right.
Or in a nursing home situation, and again, allow that aging in place, it sounds like.
And not only are we able to pick up on medical needs, too, we're also able to help them keep up the activities of daily living. We want to keep them functioning at their highest ability, whether it's feeding. If they need assistance feeding, we're able to do that, but we want to keep them at their optimal functional status while they're at the Castle Center.
Now, how many people generally participate in the program?
We have over 30 in attendance that come to the Castle Center. Any average day, we usually average over 20. A few days of the week are our bigger days where we'll have 25 or more participants at the Castle Center.
So walk us through a day at the Castle Center.
Okay, so when a participant comes in the morning, we open at 8 and we're open until 5 p.m. No one has to stay that long. So usually they start arriving around 9 a.m. is when most of them come in. So let's say, I'll just pick someone randomly. We'll say Joan comes in at 9 a.m. with her daughter. And the first thing we do is we start with a coffee social hour. And we have this big living room, and that's the other thing about the Castle Center. It doesn't look like a facility. It looks like you're walking into a comfortable place. And we'll start with our social hour, coffee social hour in the living room. Some of the men choose to want to be in their own special area where they'll watch current events on TV. They might have CNN on or the Weather Channel, and they'll have their coffee and their guy time. But in general, we go into our living room, and we'll start with coffee. And as they're having coffee, they're socializing, talking with their friends that they made there. And we'll have small activities going on. We might have a puzzle on the table. We may be doing trivia questions. We also will do word puzzles during that time. And usually, when we start to break up from that, we'll go into one of our activities. 3 days a week, we do an exercise program. So there they might go in and be doing shuffleboard, or they'll be doing, I know today they're doing bowling, any type of physical activity that they're able to do. And of course, we modify for the different functional levels of our participants. Some may not be able to, use a shuffle. I guess they call them a shuffle stick. I'm not sure what they really call them very well, and we'll assist them with that. Some will have their walkers as they're trying to bowl or their cane. And so we modify activities to fit them. After the morning activity, we kind of round up and we'll do more, we might do some singing with them on this particular day. And then we go right into lunch. And then we serve a nice warm meal that is brought in by the same, it's through home health care, through the Meals on Wheels. So that's included in the program. And then we have a little bit of quiet time right after the meal as we're breaking down lunch. They'll be either in the room doing music. We have during this time we have volunteers helping us too. So they may be singing, they may be doing more trivia, they may be working on life books, and I'll get into more detail with like the specific activities. And then at 1:30, it might be bingo day, it may be men's group, it may be the women's book club day, maybe special music that's coming in. And then when that's done, people are starting to head home.
I think Dave has some pictures he's going to queue up for us here that'll show a little bit more to our audience about some of the activities going on there. And one of the things is that it's not just indoors.
No.
So if we can bring those pictures up, Dave. So there's our picture of the Castle Center and in the location of the Castle Center.
Yes, we're at 312 Marlborough Street in Keene, and the picture that you're seeing now, actually behind the fence, is a beautiful garden. And we do many activities out in the garden in the nice weather. And the nice thing is the participants can go out there independently too. It's a gated, locked gated garden where they won't be able to get out of safety.
So Dave's going to bring up the next one, and this one is interesting because, and I think the next one after it is an even greater picture of music and memory. And why is that so important? So
we became Music and Memory certified this summer, and we have found, well, the founders of the program found that with people with memory loss, if we're able to get a complete songs that they listened to over the years, and we put them on iPod shuffles, and it brings them back it brings back memories for them where we can engage in conversations. So I always bring up back in the 70s, Elton John was really big, and whenever I hear a certain song, Philadelphia Freedom comes on the radio, I'm totally brought back to the cross-country trip we took with my parents in our old station wagon. And we find that helps with the people with memory loss. It triggers memories that they hadn't thought about in years, and we can have conversations with them. I recently had one of our participants, he had the headphones on, came to my office and was pointing to his headphones and said, "This is bringing back great memories." So if we can really target the songs they listen to, it really brings them back. They're alive inside, and it brings them back, and it's pretty amazing to watch how that works.
That is fabulous. I think we have a little bit more about the music and memory piece. So you're using those iPods.
Yes.
And, you know, this is a great shot right here because I'm guessing for our vets even that may be in your program, if they hear patriotic music or anything like that, that it probably brings back
It brings back their memories, yes. We have several veterans that attend the Castle Center, and we recently also celebrated them on Veterans Day, and they were very appreciative of that. And we have found with the patriotic songs, the memories, and it just reminders of their serving. And, you know, sometimes they get tearful, but the memories that they're sharing from those, even with the tearfulness, you may not hear unless they're hearing that music, and it's reminding them of what they did and how they served. And
so it really allows that storytelling piece
exactly.
to emerge as well, in that social connection, perhaps. I think we have a couple more shots there. What do we have going on here?
So this was our Veterans Day celebration. So there's ladies in the community in a knitting group that put together the red, white, and blue blankets, and we handed those out to our veterans.
Okay.
We also have art lessons. We have an artist that comes in a couple of times a year, and our participants can participate in art lessons. And recently they had a show up at the hospital. Some of the art was on display there.
This is one of my favorite shots because whenever I go over to HCS, I love seeing this as I'm pulling in. But you have a beautiful butterfly park.
Yes, right attached to our parking lot is the butterfly park. that we do activities in the nice weather. I know they've done like lawn bowling out there. We've had picnics out there. So we do go outdoors too at the Castle Center. We take walks. The park is really a nice place for them to go, and whether we do picnics or some type of activity, it's really good for them to be outdoors.
Now, are you participating in the community gardening program at all, where people actually garden at Castle Center?
We have the small garden on our patio where we did grow vegetables, and we made our own salads over the summer.
So that's another great activity for
Yes.
people to engage in. I think of my own parents, and they always had a big garden. So I think there's a certain generation that gardening is so important to. So we have a couple more shots, and I think there's a great example of some of the medical care, just checking people's blood pressure.
Yes, we do vital signs once a month, or if the doctor would like us to check them more often, we'll do that if there's a concern. We also will check weights on people, because weight loss is a big concern as people get older, and so we can monitor weights. We do medications, basically whatever medical needs that can be done in this type of setting, we're able to do.
And it looks like here that you're also providing some personal hygiene
Yes.
care, making sure people don't have, I would guess you probably check their feet for diabetes and fungus.
We do check feet from time to time. Also, the HCS has the foot clinic, so that's done. They actually use our a room at the Castle Center once a week to do feet care, and our participants can sign up to be seen there also. We do nail care, and we have like a spa day where the men will get shaved and whatever, and we'll do their nails, and the ladies of course like to have their nails painted.
Can anybody come to spa day?
I can't even participate in spa day, but that would be fun.
Oh, Dave, here we go. No spa day for us, I guess. So tell us more about, you're serving this kind of the aging population now, it sounds like, although the facility is open still to other age groups that may be 18 to 25 and still in need of that kind of extra medical support or caretaking during the day.
Yes, the people that have been calling really have been the older people. We can care for anyone 18 and older, but the demand really seems to be for the elderly, mom and dad. I need help caring for mom and dad, like I was saying earlier, and I need to work. What can I do? Where can they go? I don't want to put them in a nursing home yet. I want them home at nighttime. So this really provides a nice opportunity where mom and dad can be have their lives enriched, and they're able to stay home longer.
Are you in need of any type of volunteer support, anything like that at the center?
We are always looking for volunteers. We have a good volunteer pool, but would be nice to have people that would come in with the music and memory program and sit with our participants while they're listening and have those conversations. Have more, if we can have volunteers to do the one-on-one conversations of music and memory. We also like volunteers that come in that like to do really anything. We have some that like to come and just play games or play chess, play cribbage. We have several cribbage players at the Castle Center. I haven't learned to play cribbage yet. And pinochle players. And even if it's only a half hour where someone could come and just visit and do some one-on-one visits or do group activities.
And if they have a special skill, such as painting or ceramics, perhaps, or some other kind of skill, you would welcome that as well, as
Absolutely.
Sounds like. So if somebody wanted to volunteer, how would they reach out to you?
They would call me directly, and I can give you my phone number at the Castle Center. It's 355-8281. And you would call me, and we would set up a time to meet.
So that's a good way. You can also reach out, I think, through the website. You can find out more information.
Through the website.
You have Facebook, if I remember correctly. HCS has Facebook.
HCS has Facebook, so you can send an inquiry through that. You can even call HCS, and they would put you through to the Castle Center. Or you could just stop in and see me.
So even more fun to stop in and
see what we do.
See what you do. And do you welcome visitors stopping in?
We do welcome visitors stopping in.
So that would be a great way for our audience to get to know the service in case they need it someday or have a loved one who may need that service or if they want to volunteer. When you think about the population you're serving now, Catherine, what are some of what you perceive as needs for the future?
Well, I see more that we would need more centers like the Castle Center because as our population increases, and if you read the statistics on dementia and Alzheimer's, the numbers are staggering. And I think more families are going to need support to be able to take care of their family members as they age, especially if they're not looking to put them in any, into a nursing home or an assisted living right away.
And I think more and more people are wanting to age in place. They're wanting to keep family members home. And then you have the reality of the cost of having a person in a facility. So for a lot of people, they have to factor all those things in. So we really need to think to the future of how we support these types of programs. Especially, they call it this, literally the silver tsunami that's coming here in New Hampshire. And we have to get in front of that if we don't want it to have devastating effects. Having places like the Castle Center becomes very, very critical in the future. I'm wondering if you could share a story, recognizing, I know that the people you serve have to be, it's confidential.
Right.
But perhaps you can change names, merge some stories together, but if you could share a story about how maybe this is impacting someone's life.
Okay, I think, and I use the name Joan. Joan has been coming to the Castle Center for several months, lives at home with her daughter. Daughter cares for her 24/7 and the daughter works. Joan had stayed home alone for quite a while until the daughter was coming home and finding the stove being left on or the water running. Also, there's been instances where some people have left the gas on their stoves, and so the daughter in this story needed a place for mom to go and didn't want to put her into a nursing home yet. Still able to take care of herself in many ways, but just wasn't safe to be home alone and needed some socialization. So this person, Joan's been coming for several months, and about a month after Joan started coming, her daughter said to me, she says, I feel like a totally different person. I can go to work and mom's being taken care of, and I don't have to worry about her. I know you know that you can assist her if she needs help, with in the bathroom or eating. And it's just you can see like the wrinkles coming off her face because just the stress involved in her having to worry when mom was home alone and coming home and finding different things that mom was forgetting to do.
So that's huge because you think about really you're impacting two people's lives in that situation. You're impacting the person you're serving directly, but also the family support system for them and making sure that they can remain in the workforce, that they remain with a wage, and really not becoming part of our system of care that's needed around housing and food and all those other things because they're able to maintain their job potentially. So I'm sure it's a huge stress reliever, especially in today's world where many people live paycheck to paycheck, and it's so important to maintain their jobs. And just the distraction alone, and really, there's another benefit to this, our employers, because they don't have a distracted employee. They have an employee that's, producing their work and not having to worry about those things.
Right, not having to call out because they have to stay with mom for the day, or mom's having a bad day. Mom can have her bad day at the Castle Center because we have the staff there to care for mom. And she can, the daughter can go to work. And then when the daughter picks her up, they'll go home and have dinner and she'll have mom through the evening and bring her back the next morning.
So you did your clinical work there.
Yes.
You came back. What's your favorite thing about being at the Castle Center?
Oh, my favorite thing is when I'm able to be out on the floor and just talking with the participants. That's my favorite thing, just engaging and listening to them. I've learned so much. And I feel that in society in general has kind of casted away our elderly people. And I'm a big advocate for find an older person and get to know them. You'll learn so much. They're so valuable. And I think in general society doesn't value them like they should be. So I'd like to think we're making a big difference. And you're a human being. We enjoy having you here.
Right. And, you know, it's funny, we have, since July, we've had a 91-year-old woman who used to be our neighbor, had to move away from the state, but was really missing her friends and people, and we'd always been kind of like a family to her as her neighbor, and she's been living with us since July. She's going to go back to her family for a couple of months, and then she's coming back to us again. And as you said, it's so interesting to just sit and listen. You know, people have amazing histories. And, you know, one of the exciting things about really engaging with a person who's lived a lifetime, and even if their memory may not be there, but things like the music is pulling out potentially some of these stories, it's fascinating to hear the life changes and the world changes they've lived through here. And we've had tremendous change over the last 40, 50 years, and they've lived it. So it's great fun to hear the stories and just to sit and have that conversation.
And my life is enriched as much as their life is. And the staff that I have too, they just have so much compassion, and we just learn so many new things. One of the women who comes to the Castle Center was in the U.S. Marines back during World War II, and just to hear how she served her country and her eyes sparkle when she tells us about what it was like. There weren't that many women in the services back, in World War II that actually were in the Marines also. A lot of them were in nursing, but actually being a Marine. So she'll tell her story, and she'll actually tell you, we won World War II because of her. So, but just hearing those stories and say, wow, these people have done a lot.
And they've lived through a lot.
Exactly.
They've lived through all the technology changes in the world. I know and actually the woman living with us was escaped the Holocaust in Germany. So she's got a very rich history and has seen so many changes through the decades. So, great opportunity for people to just volunteer. And I think you mentioned it could be for a half hour.
Right.
It could be a once a week. It could be, you come in on a regular basis. Do you have people that come in and read? Because I know we have another picture, and I saw in the picture, I think, Ribby visiting the Castle Center.
Yeah, so we have people, we are involved with the community, so we had the Swamp Bats come in. And you were also asking about reading.
Here's Ribby.
Yeah, Ribby. It was nice. That was a great day. We also have Mr. and Mrs. Claus that come in. So we do have a lot of people from the community that will come in and do like one-time type, I wouldn't call it volunteering, but they'll come in and visit. And that day was a great day with Ribby. We have, Thursday afternoons, we have what we call a women's book club. We have a woman that comes in, and she'll spend about an hour and a half with the ladies, and she'll read short stories with them. And after each short story, she kind of picks stories that cover different time frames in history, and they'll have conversations. So that's another thing that brings back memories. She does that once a week. We also have a music therapist that comes in on Thursday morning and does music. So we had a talent show in October, and we will have a holiday program next week, and I think they do some type of spring concert too. We have like a chorus. We have some women involved in the chorus that she works with. So
So really lots of engaging activities
Absolutely.
for anybody who, any lifestyle really, you know, music, reading, arts and crafts, just being able to be social. But it sounds like playing games, you know, there's just so many ways for people to feel connected during the program. And again, really meeting the needs not just of the individual, but servicing our whole community, because it's keeping people in the workforce, it's you know, making sure that people can live their lives well.
Right.
So great work you're doing, Catherine. Anything you want our community to be aware of out there in terms of the Castle Center, the clients that you're serving, anything?
Pay attention to, I would say, pay attention to the older people around you. There are so many that could benefit from the Castle Center that don't necessarily know about the Castle Center, and there's many that are still able to live independently in their home. So I would say look out for your older neighbors. Make sure they're okay. If you haven't seen them in a while, make a phone call. Be vigilant about the elderly in our community, because there are many that do live alone, and you just don't know how can't keep track of everybody. But if neighbors watch out for neighbors, I think that would be a great place to start.
And that's especially important this time of year where it is colder, and people sometimes become even more isolated because they just can't get out because of snow and things. Fortunately, no snow yet, but even getting out because of the cold. So incredibly important. And also this time of year is the time of year where we find that a lot of people feel a little bit more depressed if they are isolated. It's the holiday season. So just important to reach out to your neighbors, your friends, family members maybe that you haven't contacted in a while, just to make sure everything's okay. If people are in need of a service such as the Castle Center, what's the best way to reach out again?
The best way to reach out is to call me directly, and the number is 355-8281. You could also locate us on the internet. There's also a Facebook page for HCS, and if you called HCS directly, they would put you in contact with me.
And always the other option, you're one of our community partners, is to either call 211 if you can't remember the information that Catherine has shared with you. If you call 211, they'll provide a referral and give you the information about the Castle Center and HCS, its parent agency. Or you can call the local Monadnock United Way at 352-4209, or email us or contact us over the internet. But anyway, we will make sure you're connected to the Castle Center. Catherine, I want to thank you for joining us, and most of all, I want to thank you for such a great service that you're providing to the Monadnock region. We are truly fortunate to have this available to both our aging population, but just to our population in general.
Thank you.
So, the audience, I want to thank you for joining us. You heard Catherine talk about opportunities to volunteer. I want to remind you that there's lots of them out there. If you have questions about volunteering, please reach out to the United Way. We'll be happy to connect you to different services in need, or you can reach out directly to them and just ask. Catherine's in need of readers, listeners, people that want to be involved in the Music and Memory program. This is a great opportunity if you have just a little bit of time, or you have a lot of time on your hands and you're looking to connect with someone else. I want to thank you for joining us, and I want to remind you, please remember to give, to volunteer, to advocate, to live united.